Welcome to Surrender School.
The goal, okay, the goal of this is a personal journey. Our focus is to help you understand the relationship between your false self and your true self. Obviously, the true self is who we want to land in and where we want to live most of the time. And while you're going through that process, our goal is to help you treat yourself with unrelenting compassion because you're human. All right. Some things to keep in mind. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just facilitating this. Once again, we suggest that you work, obviously, this is called work step by type. So take the test if you haven't, it'll guide you. And then one of the guidelines is that self-contempt stops spiritual growth. And we're here because we want to grow spiritually. And once again, it's little baby steps, but we grow spiritually. And what stops that is self-contempt. So we want everybody to set that aside as much as you can, right? All right. We believe if you do the work, you will be supercharged. I also want to, as a reminder, be kind to yourself and other people as well. And in general, what we do, we share a little bit. I'll have a topic here in a minute to share on in this room. I cover a little bit of information, and then we go into randomly assigned breakout rooms. We come back together, and then I introduce the topic for the next week and give you kind of hints on how to utilize that. Super important, I think, now while we're doing step 4, because we're doing it differently than you've probably done it in the past. I bring this up because I want you to understand what we're looking for as we go through this are the patterns in our life, the patterns that have never showed up as patterns before. We didn't understand why this happened. But what happens is we're working these, we see the patterns as patterns. We see the projections or those stories we tell ourselves, we see them as stories. And what happens when that happens is then that ego structure that you've built up starts to dissipate. And that's what allows you to live in your true self. All right, we will cover the best way to use the inventory list, which is the next assignment for the next week. The goal then is to open your heart and mind to something new and a different way to do it. And we believe that this is a way to really soften any resistance that you might have and not even be aware of. That's really the reason that we do it the way we're doing it. Okay, so this is, Francine, this is what is out there, this little guy right here, the nature of. And if you look at the 9, which I have something in the way there, just a second, let me move that. So ruminating or procrastinating can be stubborn or apathetic, can be disengaged from the world, is the nature of the ego structure that the 9 builds up, right? Whereas me as an 8, I can be dominating or confrontational. I can see people as objects instead of people. I can lust for power and I can lust for things, right? At the bottom, right? The 6 being pessimistic and so forth. Okay, so these are the reason, by the way, we bring this up is because these are the kinds of things you want to watch for when you're working your steps. That's really what we want to do. And I'm going to give you a bigger list later on as well when we get to step 5, because your observer, sometimes called sponsor, but I'm calling that the observer, is helping you observe those things because we have blind spots, right? All right, so tied to that, does anyone want to share, now that we've talked a little bit about the nature of things showing up, does anyone want to share? I'm going to stop.
Okay, so I'm going to give an extremely recent example. This happened earlier today. My wife and I we've joined a group of people who are trying to keep one of the riverbeds in our town. We live in Tucson, Arizona, and you can imagine the riverbeds are dry. Essentially litter and debris cleanup. And I end up with this blend of passion, compassion, depression, anger, and resentment all at the same time, because the people who generally litter this river bed are homeless for the most part. So I'm pissed off at them because, why would you want to do this to your home? I'm pissed off at our social situation where people actually are homeless. And at the same time, I'm sad and I have compassion. So it's this enormous blend. I don't know about the rest of you, but I rarely find that I can channel a single emotion without other ones also being braided around it.
Yeah, and Richard, I think too, since you're a one, right? So one of the things that can happen if somebody does have the single, a one would often have just judgment and wouldn't be at the they wouldn't even go there to work on the riverbed, right? At all. They just would avoid everything and judge the situation, right? So yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing that. Joy, to you.
Trying to control others so they will like me is something that continues to be part of my life. I watch for it these days. I say yes to things I don't really want to do. I say no to things that I want to do. Yeah. Um, all so that, and it's not only so people will like me, it's so I can stay connected to them. I want connection is just so important. Um, as far as the self-important part of the nature, I make myself very important. I make it so other people have to rely on me. Giving up control of surrender school, parts of surrender school, was very difficult to me. Being the one, I'm no longer the one. Lori's the one now that does the website and things like that. I was doing everything, right? Why? I wanted people to depend on me. And so I could be the important one. And so little by little, yeah. Um, false sense of humility. I think it goes two ways, but I'm going to talk about the less than. Um, I I I used to feel that feeling less than was better than being like a braggart, right? And it's not. It's not. It still separates me from others. It causes me my whole life to put everyone above me. Um, and try to be their right-hand man, right? To make them depend on me, these higher people than me when I had this hierarchy, because then I would bring myself higher because I'm associated with others. And then possessiveness. I think I think it's a classical high school thing with possessiveness. This is the last part of the nature where, I always felt left out or like I was the third wheel. I wanted to be the one that, in friendships, I didn't want other people to do things with others. Now, I think that's one of the first things that kind of left me. I see, and I think it also goes with humility. Just because Cher's going somewhere with someone else doesn't mean we don't have a good relationship anymore. I don't have to, you know. Anyway, I talked about all of them. And they're all in my life. I see them all. Thanks.
Thank you, Joy. All right, Liz, to you.
Hi, I'm a four, so I learned that I am self-absorbed. And I have to admit, it is very true. And I am not proud of this. I say, oh my, not everybody's like this. So I'm really not proud of this. I think it's the worst stain it can have. And just before the meeting, I was in my bed reading a book, and it came to my mind, oh, I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy. I'm overwhelmed by myself and the way I am, and turned my gaze around to the side. And the pillow beside me was a cat. This side was another of my cat. I said, how can I say that? I was so imprisoned in myself then when I said that. Just look around. You're reading a book. It's Sunday. You have your cats. Wow. I mean, isn't that self-absorbed?
Thank you, Liz. And I think we're all supposed to be the star of our own movie. That's true, right? So yeah, it just sometimes it gets twisted a little. Thank you, Liz, for that. All right, Linda L, to you.
There we go. There's the procrastination always. Just one more word game before I do something else. Not so much on the ruminating these days, but recognizing my stubbornness. I always, thought of it as I have a hard time with change, but the stubbornness, I think that's something that I really need to just kind of be extra, put my eyes extra on that particular one this coming week. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa, to you.
Hi, Teresa, number 2. I forgot to put that. Oh, somebody put it on for me. Thank you. I think Joy said it all for me, actually, because I was like one of those bouncy things when she was talking with my head. Yeah, I do things because I want to feel superior on things, and then I guess I expect something back when I help. So maybe my reasons for helping others aren't so humble as I thought. I was just looking at this thing, the humble will be exalted and the exalted will be humble. That just came in my head out of nowhere. I remember somebody said that. But yeah, and when I do something for someone in my family with the medical stuff, yes, I know a lot about it. I've been helping people, and, so I'm good at it, and I could say that, like, yeah, I do get things done. But if somebody asks me for what to do and they don't, like, I'm a big procrastinator, but when somebody else asks me and they don't do it, I get like a control freak. And I guess that makes me feel like, oh, well, I know what I'm talking about now. So they'll, respect me, or I don't know. But anyway, ditto to everything that Joy said. Like, I just, it blew my mind because it's so me. Like, she could be my sister.
And it's fascinating because that is exactly what happens. First is the awareness, right? Then the acceptance of that. Oh, okay, I see. I'm wired that way. That is the way my ego structure built up to protect me, right? The problem is that we believe that we are our ego structure. And what happens when you're working a program like we're doing right now, you realize, oh, that was for protection, but you get to relax into your true self. And the true self, by the way, of the two is still very kind and giving. There's just not that hook, right? Or all the things you're talking about, those things dissipate, and what's left is just this lovely.
Yeah.
These are good
And
friends.
it's loyalty. Yeah, like it's like,
Yeah.
if I do something, I expect you to be loyal to me no matter what. You're
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And my family's not like that. Anyway, thank you for
All
letting
right.
me.
Thank you, Teresa. Jennifer, to you.
Well, I'm going to ditto Joy as well in terms of I could just feel her when she said that she was the one, because the way that she articulated that and the feeling tone that came across is exactly what I'm battling at my organization. I was the one. We were tiny when I started 10 years ago. And now there's all of these people around and other people doing things that I used to do and do so well. But it was so clear, she said, and the reason for that is because I want them to like me or something. I'm paraphrasing. And for me, it's not that at all. I could care less if they like me. For me, it's because I've got to keep this ship afloat. I have got to keep things running and moving. And I know I can trust myself to keep us safe. Or even if I don't trust us to keep us safe, I trust that I'm going to go down with the ship to make sure that we are, and don't trust that anybody else can do it. So it was wonderful to hear the same behavior, but the difference that the type gives to the motivation, it was just so like I continue to get that crystal clear of the beautiful nuance of the Enneagram. So that's what I wanted to share.
And you're right, because 9s and 2s and 6s are sometimes look very similar, but the motivation is different, right? That's exactly it. Yeah, love that. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. All right, so I see I have Cheryl and Joe with their hands up in at the top of the hour. We're going to go to the breakout room. So Joe, I don't know that we'll have time for you. Cheryl, I'm going to go ahead and have you share, and then Joe, I'll have you share on the other end if that's okay. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. I am a type 4. Are we talking about the nature by type? What? Okay, good. So mine says being self-absorbed, getting lost in self-pity, and being envious of others. Wow. So I have to tell everyone what just happened to me a few days ago. I've been working with a sponsor in the OA program, and I like her. We've been working for, quite a few weeks together. Well, I just found out that she has a profession. She's a surgeon. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I can't work with her anymore. I am too stupid to work with her. Why would she want to work with a cashier? I'm so low. A surgeon? If she knew that I was just a cashier in my life, I'm sure she would not want to work with me. So being self-absorbed, just so I, I believe that's what falls into that category. Getting lost in the self-pity. That's what I just wanted to share.
Thank you, Cheryl. Joe, we do have time if you want to share. Go ahead. Thank you, Cheryl. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi, sorry. Yeah, so I just wanted to comment on I just quickly scribbled down the being self-absorbed. I just thought I find myself and my brain so much hard work that there's literally no room for anyone else. That's what I've realized. And it's not that I don't want there to be room for anyone else, but it's just that I'm so self-absorbed, I think, that my brain can't cope with much else. The self-pity, that's just been me all the time. And every week I seem to have this meltdown. And every week I'm like, where is everyone? Why isn't everyone helping me? Quite bizarre. And then the being envious of others, it's not so much what others have or what others earn or what jobs people do or anything like that. It's more that how is everyone else coping so well when I've like overanalyzing everything and thinking about everything and my brain's just going a million miles an hour. It's like the biggest problem in my life has always been my brain. It's never been the outside world or other people or stuff. It's just what's going on in my own head. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Joe. I want to say too, I think the cool part about the way that we are working the steps right now, and I've talked about it a little bit, but one of the things that happens is the way that we are working steps 4 and 5, and I'll cover that here in a minute, but the way that we're working 4 and 5 will bring 6 and 7 alive. Usually what happens when people work the steps, they work 4 and 5, skip over 6 and 7 because it's a paragraph in the big book, and then they go right to 8. And to us, it feels very, very strongly that the answer to making us able to live in 10, 11, and 12 is to bring step 6 and 7 alive. So that's one of the things that will happen. So tied to that, Joe, I want to say, we come to here believing that everybody has the same view of the world that I have, but they're all better people than me, right? In some form, right? Because they're not inside their heads all the time, or everybody is inside all their heads all the time, but they somehow have figured out a way to cope. What really happens is we all have different perspectives completely, right? Our true selves may be, like all the 8's true selves may be very similar, but the way the world has twisted us and the way that we have built that ego structure, the problem is that we believe we are our ego structure and that we believe that everybody else does it better than we do, right? And so we want to, it's like what we're trying to do in 6 and 7 is to let that go and realize, first of all, I do not create the change. I create the environment for the change, and my greater power actually does the change. And as a result of that, It doesn't mean that lets go of all the white knuckling and all that. First, we just are aware of it. We're like, oh, look what's happening. And that's really when we're working 4 and 5 the way that we're going to work it, it ends up being it ends up being deeper than you have done. Not deep as in, every story that you had as a child and everything that ever happened to you in the world. We're not covering that. But what's happening is it's like you almost get to the seed of what has happened, not to the events of what had happened, but the seed of what has happened. And then that kind of opens up and allows 6 and 7 to come alive. So you'll see it as we go through this. I'm really excited that we're finally here. I've been talking about 4 and 5 forever. So we're finally here. All right. I'm going to share again. And then we will move on here. Hold on just a second. Let me share my screen. All right. So we have done this. And remember, this document is out on that main page where you pick your type. Down at the bottom of the page is this document. So if you don't have the nature stuff, you go ahead and grab it so that you've got that. All right. All right. So most people that have worked the steps before, typically they'll have you work the columns vertically. So everybody that you resent, and then you come back and talk about why do you resent them, like the events that happened, and then you're going to go through all the different columns. And then when you share it horizontally. That's how most people do it. And the reason, most people don't know why that happens, but the reason is because that engages different parts of your brain. And what we are doing, and Jennifer, you asked this question last week, do you want the questions to be answered in prose or list? Absolutely prose. And here's why. When you write in prose, it basically hits the right side of your brain, that creative side of your brain. It's creative. It allows you to be fluid. It allows you to be expressive. It allows you to get it all out. And it also leaves clues that it doesn't if you do it as a list, right? The list is very left brain, right? It's item by item by item. It's like that. And it categorizes. So it's how you group things together. It also has a purpose, whereas the prose, it's just kind of, it's fluid. This has a purpose. I want to get the list down. That's why you do the pro and con list, right? That because it hits that part of your brain. It also is just the facts. It's a summary of what is going on, and it leaves very few clues. So if we approach this, that's why we have questions first, and you get the right brain stuff going, and then we come up with the lists, and you get the left side of the brain going. So we're engaging the entire brain in step 4. That's the goal of this anyway. That's what we believe will happen. All right, let's use both of them. All right, this time the breakout rooms will be 40 minutes long, and we give you 6 minutes per person. So there'll be smaller groups than they've been in the past. And it's going to be 40 minutes long, 6 minutes per person. If somebody only takes 2 minutes, then other people might have more time, but it's going to be 40 minutes instead of 30 minutes today. In addition to that, let's see if there's anything else I want to cover. Once again, the only purpose is to read the question and then answer the question. If you've only done 1 or 2 of them, fine. Just start with 1 or 2 of them, right? Do what you can do. I'm thrilled that we haven't had a drop off. There's almost 50 people here, which is awesome. Unexpected, as a matter of fact, because this is a lot of work, right? So whatever you have done, great. And if you haven't written on it, but you still have something to share, please feel free to do that. And once again, what's the question first? Because once again, because this is random and the different types are there, we all have different questions because of our type. So we are reading the question more for the other people to hear what it is you're answering than anything else, okay? So this is going to be on the resentment launch questions. Each type has 4. And whatever you've worked on, feel free to share that. This is going to be a full 40 minutes. So once everybody has shared, at the end, if you guys want to share some more or talk about more stuff, that's fine. And then I'll bring you back to the main room and cover a little bit of content for next week. Good? All right. I'm going to stop sharing, and Lori's going to put you in. All right. So one of the things I want to talk about real quick is the cadence. And I'm going to go to black here real quick, just a second. The cadence for step 4 is something I call launch questions and then inventory, and then launch questions for fears and inventory, and launch questions and inventory, because some of the people went right into the inventory and there's questions there. And the questions, once again, do not do them as a list, just write in prose, just write, right? Because the idea is that touches the right side of your brain, left side of your brain, want the other. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here. All right, so this week were the launch questions, and I think everybody answered them, some just kind of as we went along. All right. Now what I want to talk about is the actual inventory itself. So one of the things that I'm going to suggest that you do, we have sample inventories by type out there that basically, right, obviously friend, parent, coworker, all that stuff, that doesn't really matter who the people are. So at this point, it doesn't matter who it is. What I want you to do before you actually start filling out your own inventory is to take a look at columns 2 and 3 and just ask yourself, have I ever felt this way? And if so, I want you to circle it. Right. So if you had felt that they didn't understand or acknowledge your feelings and you felt unseen or unworthy, you would circle that. And this is for the type 4, because we have a lot of 4s. If you feel like that other people receive more recognition for, even though you contribute more, you felt overlooked and undervalued, right? Did you feel that way? Did that you experience that? Is that how it made you feel? And then the one at the very bottom, they didn't invite me to an event making me feel excluded, but you didn't feel necessarily unworthy. You just felt something else. That's what I'd like you to do before you go into the inventory, is take a look at this and just circle the stuff that don't pay any attention. Maybe it's not your mother, it's your sister or something. That's fine. So ignore the first column. But then in the other ones, did you feel like that? Don't worry at this point about the part in it. Just take a look and see if any of this shows up as feelings, experiences that you've had. And then, so your assignment is the resentment list now, right? Your own is a resentment list. Take a look at the sample one first, do the circles, and then do your resentment list. Now, once again, no more than 10 items. What's taking up space in your mind right now, not your history of everything that anybody ever did to you in your lifetime. That is not what this is about. It is about something that is living rent-free in your brain, right? That's the resentment list that you want to come up with now. Okay. So once again, you're going to survey and circle the sample one, and then you're going to fill in your own resentment form. That's what you're going to do. And we're going to share on it next week. It'll probably be 40 minutes again, so that people have a chance to share. Don't do more than 10. You might even do like just 5. The big ones that show up, right? Because what we're looking for, by the way, in 5 is patterns. We don't want to know the history of the world and all the people that done you wrong. That is not the goal. The goal is to be able for us to see our patterns, because that is what dissipates the ego structure, is when we see the patterns as patterns and the projections, which are the stories we tell ourselves, as the stories we tell ourselves. I also want to say, in office hours, if you come in after it started, you'll see this slide that says we're writing on step 4, because we're actually doing some writing, right? So, and Monday, this especially happened. And then it's about 5 minutes of writing just to get you started, and then you kind of come back. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and we'll come back to the main room here. All right. So, anybody want to share on anything that happened in the rooms, or any questions that you have, or whatever? We are open for another 6 or 7 minutes, and then even more after that. So, okay. So, Jim, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be saying this as someone who was hosting in the room, but I thought it went brilliant. The shares were from everyone were great. I learned not just from what I had written, but from what other people were sharing. And it reminded me of, as I said in the room at the time, in a little time ago, because everyone shared each and every question, which left us 30 seconds before coming back to the main room. So that was perfect in terms of the time. But others, the shares that others had made, and as I said, near the end, when everyone had shared on each and every question, that some of the shares that people had made, the points that they had made, also I had experienced, but hadn't written about. And the fact that they had shared a similar experience allowed me to express it in the small time that was remaining, to release it. And for me, it was just brilliant. Just thank everyone who was in the room with me for the time and shares.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. Good. I'm glad that makes me very happy. Okay, Ruth, to you.
Yeah, I just have a real quick question regarding the assignment. You know how you said that we would survey and circle and we're looking for patterns and all that kind of stuff. So then we're going to our own form, no more than 10. Are we using the given verbiage when we can? Not a problem, not important.
Yeah, whatever works for you. Mostly because we go from like facing the world and then suddenly we're trying to do an inventory. Right. And so the sample gets you kind of in the mood and maybe will let you see things or think about, oh, I never thought about that. I do have that feeling. And so what it does is channels the inventory in a direction that gets you kind of honest with yourself. That's really what the goal is. And once again, my background is education and I study the brain. And so what we're trying to do is utilize whole brain, right? So it's basically because all of us are oriented one way or the other. And so what this does is try to engage your whole brain and you'll look at things slightly differently than you normally do. And that's all we're trying to do.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Ruth. All right, Fiona, to you.
Yeah, hi. Hi. Yeah, it's just I was sharing in my group that I'm doing this as a 4 and I thought I was a 4, but now I'm wondering if I'm a 6, because when I did the test in the book, yeah, so that's what, I could have chosen, say, C instead of Y, a bit like that. But I thought, well, no, I think I'm more of a 4. But now I'm actually questioning it. I went back and did it again, and then I'm thinking, well, actually, I could be a 6. So I think maybe my next move would be to do the online one that says in the Russ Hudson book. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I've
the
been,
EnneagramInstitute.com has a really good, very thorough, it's $20, $20. I don't know pounds what that would be, but it's $20 and it's pretty thorough. It also gives you a little bit about like the types that kind of follow below that. If I would say if the questions aren't resonating with you, if you're reading them and you think, yeah, this this Enneagram doesn't know me, that's the time to say maybe I may, because we all, depending on what mood we're in when we take the test, it's going to come up different because we're human beings and we show up in the world different depending upon if you're in a bad mood or good mood or whatever, right? Or if you just had, a scare or you just had, your rent is due and you don't have the money, you're going to answer it differently than you do when you're feeling pretty good, right? So,
yeah.
and that's what happens. So but if these questions are not resonating with you and you're going, I don't think so. Consider the one that may feel like, because this is what happens when it hits, and I think everybody feels this way. When it hits correctly, we absolutely know for sure what our type is, right? Once we're like, so there's a lot of people here that were 2s and they figured out that they're 9s, or they're 9s and they figured out they were 2s, or they're 6s or they came in as 6s and figured out they were 2s. So that's happened a lot because, and once again, when we answer the questions, we answer that, even Enneagram questions, the way we show up in the world. And that ego structure is the way we show up in the world, right? And what we're trying to learn is, instead of viewing that personality, that ego structure as us, we want to know our true selves, right? And so as a result of that, the way we show up in the world is our true self, with all the twists and turns that have happened in our life because of abuse, because of abandonment, because of all the crap that's happened in our life. We get twisted in certain ways, and what we're doing is untwisting that so that we can return to our true self. So sometimes what you're talking about absolutely happens, right? You're just like, I thought I was a 4, but I'm actually a 6. That does happen. So maybe answer a couple of go to the 6 and answer a couple of those questions and see if they resonate more.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you, Fiona. Cindy, to you.
Oh, I can't see myself on the screen. I didn't know if there was anybody ahead of me.
Nope.
Yeah, this is a really great process. I just want to say that there were so many things in my small group there, because there's a lot of 4s. There's a lot of 4s. I can see all the 4s. And, it really does resonate. It's like a lot of the shares could just be exactly my words. And I think that the inventory is a great tool. The thing I have a question about is, what about step 5? Do we have a plan for step 5 to do with that inventory? Are we going to do that?
Yeah, we do. We do. It's
Okay.
very, that's probably more different than this is. What makes this step 4 different is that we're doing the questions up front to get you kind of in the mode, right? That they're the launch questions that use the right side of your brain, and then the list will use the left side of your brain. And in 5, yes, 5 is going to be 5, 6, and 7 are probably the most unique of anything that we're doing. So yeah, we have a plan. I'm not gonna tell it to you now, but yes, we have a
Okay.
plan.
No,
Yeah.
that's okay.
And you'll love it. Yeah, it's
That
very
will be
good.
good. No, I'm looking forward to that. Thanks,
Good.
everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Cindy, very much. Francine, to you. Oh, you're muted, dear.
Okay, there we are. I don't think I would. Well, let me say, I had never thought I would say this, but I am looking forward to step 4. This was, this was so good. Oh my God, it brings step 4 to just give it so much life and meaning. And just like Jim said, I was in the room with Jim, just like Jim said, hearing everyone else share their step 4, share their resentments, just makes it so much easier for me to share my stuff and get it out there. And so yeah, I felt so supported. And so thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the rest of this, and I'm going to dive into my questions and everything and my inventory. Oh, it sounds like the inventories are specific for every type. Is that true?
Yes,
Oh,
they
this
are.
is so wonderful. Thank
Yep.
you.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah,
like helping me
absolutely.
to think. You're helping me to express myself. So
Good.
thank you.
That's the goal. So I want to say my very first sponsor, and I was with her for 15 years or 14 and a half years. And she told me this, and it was so helpful. Step 4, we fear step 4. Step 4 is not about us finding about who we are or what we are. Step 4 is about finding out what we are not. So in 6 and 7, we can give it up, right? So we are trying to find out what we are not, what that ego structure has built up to defend us, so we can let that go in step 6 and 7. So the fear that, oh my God, I am this horrible person. No, you're not. You are wired a certain way. You have reacted a certain way. We want to basically say, that's not me, right? Just let that go. And the way that we do this is this process that Bill W. and company, whoever it was, came up with, that we are modernizing, I'll say it that way, because we know about the way the brain works and we're utilizing that. I think he used it pretty well, but he didn't know about the way the brain works because they didn't study it back then, not the same way, right? So, but the idea here really is, when we hit, just to be able to see the way I've acted, that's not me. It's not my true self. Isn't that interesting? Okay. And then it sets us up to make 6 and 7 just amazing. Everybody good? All right. Ambra, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I have two questions. One is, I don't know why I got.
Did she leave?
She muted herself.
Oh, so Ambra, you're muted wherever you are. I don't even see you.
No, I don't
Maybe
see her either.
she must have. Okay, maybe she'll come back. In the meantime, Vera, go ahead.
Yeah, first and foremost, I cannot begin to express how grateful I am for this work.
Good.
It's just mind-blowing. It's a game changer. And what I'm seeing, and I saw last week, and I'm seeing with the step 4, I've never seen, you know how they say in the program that you don't change yourself, that you are changed by the program. But I've actually, I mean, I've done 2 step 4s over the past 2 years, and I've never seen this happen, which is like in real time. I start having discernment, which is like everything I've always wanted, just have discernment. And what you just said makes so much sense to me. That's why I don't feel good with these defenses, is because they're not me, you know, they're not me. They are highly ineffective when I think of my goals. They have nothing to do with my nature. I mean, they might have to do with how I'm wired, but they have no, I don't recognize myself in envy, you know. I've got so many talents and so many skills and so many good stuff that I want to be grateful for and use it. And so I don't know where to start in saying that this. It's like this has been a very, very important week for me. And I've seen in real time not being desperate anymore, just being curious. So thank you. Just
Awesome,
wanted
Vera.
to, yeah.
No, that makes me so happy. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Vera. Okay, Ambra, back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't, my telephone is crazy. Okay, I
Okay.
just want to ask you about the friend, family, whatever. I have to put like general what they do with me that trigger me or make me suffer or whatever. It's like general stuff about what they do in the second column. No?
Well, this is what makes it slightly different. Let me pull that up here real quick, because what it's
Yeah.
actually saying, I'm almost there. Hold on a second.
Yeah, yeah. And even I have to do alone, like nine name and all of that in
Okay,
this week.
what type are you again?
4. I have to
You're-
check because I don't found the.
Okay, so your resentment sheet. So did you answer the questions?
I answered the first 4 question.
The 4
No,
questions, perfect.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I'm not the about family and all of that, and I want to know this week what you we have to do.
Yeah. No, exactly. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the sample resentment form. Ignore the first column and then circle
Mm-hmm.
the ones that say, oh, I have experienced this. Yes, I have experienced this, right? And then you're going to go into, oops, I just hit the example, sorry. Then you're going to go into the actual resentment form, the blank resentment form, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're going to say who it is. And the second column here is why I resent them. So
Mm-hmm.
this is not all the shit that they've done to you in your lifetime. You're going to say, why do I resent them? That's it. So I don't want to hear about 18,000. I mean, so what happens, by the way, in step 5, just as a prelude to step 5, is the observer of step 5, sometimes called the sponsor, the observer is looking for the patterns that you cannot see yourself. And us telling the story of everybody that's ever done anything wrong to us does not help that. I want to know why I resent this person. That's it.
Mm.
It's like a sentence. I resent them because they ignore me. I resent them because they always treat me badly. I resent them because
Because I
they,
was a scapegoat. One thing for me
yeah,
per
just what, I
chapter.
mean, what this
Yeah.
person treats me this way. And it's like a sentence. It's not the detail, because usually if that person is in your life, like I have a
Mm-hmm.
resentment I'm working on. My husband, when I drive and he's in the car, he tells me where to park. And I cannot help but drive past that parking space. I will not take it. It might be the best one in the parking lot, but I will not take it. And now I'm making myself take the parking space that he, right? So, and I know
Mm-hmm.
I have this resentment that why is he telling me where to park? And it might even be the best parking space. It's like, Cheryl, can you calm down a little bit? And I know it's a control issue. I get that, but I've never seen it before. I mean, I guess I
Mm-hmm.
saw it because I would pass the parking space up, but I never admitted that that there's a type of resentment sitting here, right? But I would write, right? So my husband tells me where to park, right? That's why I resent it. He tells
Okay,
me where to
but
park.
husband, it's one. For example, if I have 10 friends, I have to put what is the most thing that I'm
I just think
resentful for.
you're gonna do a maximum of 10, period. And the ones
Okay.
that take up space in your mind. I mean, there may be something that with all your friends, you hate the fact that they do things without you or something, right? That's fine.
Uh-huh.
So, you know what I mean? Because what we're looking for is a pattern In step 5, the observer is going to be looking for a pattern, and it's almost always a pattern by type. And we don't see it. We really don't see it because it's in
Okay.
our blind spot. So that's really what we're trying to do.
Okay, but the thing is, I have to do all the column and all the stuff, or 1 and 2?
Well, you're
2
going
column.
you're going to
All.
do all 4 of them, all 4 of the columns for
Okay.
next week. Yep. And then we're going to share
Okay.
on all 4 of the columns for next
Oh
week
my
for up
God.
to 10, not more than 10. And
No,
once
no
again,
more than 10.
yeah,
Okay, I got it.
if you've ever been a sponsor and you had to listen to somebody live in their story for 18 days as they shared all their crap with you, that anybody that ever did anything wrong to them, that is not what this is. This is us trying to figure out the patterns that you have in your life. It's like, embrace the fact that you can never change anyone else. Embrace that with all your fucking heart. You cannot change anyone else ever, but you can,
Yeah,
your higher
I
powers
started
help
it.
change yourself. So anyway, all right, had
Got
to
it.
happen there, Bob. Had to have at least one. So okay, thank you, Umbra. You have a good?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Lori, to you.
Yeah, I wanted to pose a question that's in the chat, but first, can we close the meeting and
Yes,
stop?
we're 10 minutes long. Sorry about that.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
quick. I'm going to do, if you want to stop the recording, and I'm going to do the serenity prayer, and then we'll just continue answering questions if anybody has them. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Okay, cool. All right, Lori, did you have something else that you wanted to say? Go ahead.
Thanks for recovering with us.